The U.S. economy, the news is in, grew at 1.1% rate in quarter one of 2023. We just got the first quarter numbers in. That's weak. But our feckless Fed chair, Jerome Powell, this bonehead, is excited about it. He's so excited about it that later this next week, as I talk about it today, next week, he's probably going to raise, he and the Fed are going to raise interest rates for the 10th time, probably by another quarter point. Keep in mind, this is the same moron who said he wanted to drive unemployment up. You can't make this stuff up. The Commerce Department showed that the nation's gross domestic product, this is the broadest gauge of economic output, and gross domestic product, for those of you who didn't pay attention in, fifth or sixth grade, is the value of goods and services that are produced in the U.S., right? So any business that's doing something, they either have a good, a product, or a service, all right? So this is how we measure our economy, the gross domestic product. Well, it shrank. 3.2% GDP from July through September of 2022. So that's a third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter of 2022, it was at 2.6%. So it's gone down 3.2% to now 1.1%. So there's no question, folks, this is real stuff. The GDP is shrinking. But what does that mean to you? I'll tell you in a second. Consumer spending, that's you. That's you spending money, accounts for about 70% of U.S. economic activity. Well, this remained resilient. It grew at a 3.7% annual pace. This is the fastest such rate in nearly 2 years. So we got to wake up, folks. You know why inflation is still stubborn? Do you know why consumer spending is growing at a fast rate? Because wages are at an all-time high. Salaries and hourly rates are at an all-time high. You know this because you're seeing it at your receipt, or in your receipt rather, at restaurants, in the grocery store, and retail stores. If you got to pay a kid at Burger King $3 or $4 more an hour for him to show up and work, they're going to pass it on to you in your Whopper combo. This is Economics 101. A lot of eggheads refuse to acknowledge this. But this is called a capitalistic society. Those greedy capitalists. Well, wait a second. What, businesses are not supposed to make money now? Let's see how that works out, Sparky, when they fire you because they can't afford you. I don't know. I just don't know. And see, this leads back to my first segment. Americans get their feelings hurt and they don't think. Well, I just got a raise and I can barely afford the inflation. Then cut something, doofus. But consumers are spending more. It's the natural habit of humans. Give me more money, I spend more. And that's what the Fed did. Jerome Powell. And by the way, you can't just blame this on Biden because it was under Trump too. So those of you that are like starting to come up with a reason to get offended, I told you I was going to offend everybody today. Both parties are responsible for this crap. I'd fire everybody in Washington if you want to know what I believe. Every one of them. Everybody. The White House, Congress, start all over. All of them. Both parties are culpable here. Just so if everybody can just understand what I'm saying. This is not about politics. I'm not making a political statement. I'm talking to you about economics. And so the Fed chair has done all this. So let's look at this. Because of the interest rate hikes, 9 so far, expecting a 10th next week, the surge in borrowing costs is expected to send the economy into a recession sometime this year or early 2024. And so that's going to freak everybody out. Now, again, what did I tell you at the start of the show? Get your feelings under control. Oh, no, everyone says there's a recession coming. What do I do? Joe, Trump, my congressman, help me. I mean, this is what people do when they hear the word recession. They freak out, and the news knows it. That's why they talk about it all the time. Now, you're laughing. I love the studio audience. But am I right? That's what they do. And everybody freaks out because we get our feelings involved. Okay, let's just talk. Let's just do real talk. Consumer spending right now is at an increase of 3.7% in the teeth of inflation. Joe Biden and Donald Trump and your congressman and your senator aren't telling you to spend 3.7% more. You're doing that. Bless your heart. You're the problem. What do you do to become recession-proof? The short answer is, I need to save more money. I need to maybe not spend so much. But American consumers aren't doing that. The numbers don't lie. I've said this before. Let me give you an economic lesson. Now, this will never happen, Alex. But I wish I could launch a website today, right? And it was /spendingfor90days.com. I'm making this up, right? Whatever. We'd come up with a much better campaign than that. But what if we got tens of millions, hundreds of millions of Americans for 90 days to not go out to eat, to cut your grocery bill way back, don't buy any new clothes, new shoes. Now, some of you are going, oh, Ken, you are so evil. That would put people out of business. Well, yes, maybe. But you know what it would do? You'd watch inflation go like this. It's called supply demand, folks. You learned about it in 5th grade, maybe 6th grade. See, companies will respond when demand wanes. So instead of Jerome Powell raising interest rates and forcing pain, what if we, the people, said, you know what? We're going to do our civic duty, and it's actually going to help us out. We're going to save a bunch of money. For 90 days, we're going to save as much money as absolutely possible. What I mean by saving is we're not going to spend. And watch the cost of cars, the cost of combos, the cost of everything go down. We don't need the Fed chair to jack up interest rates. What we need is an educated American public who had a sense of discipline, a sense of perspective to say, you know what? We just need to stop spending. But we won't do that. It would take some type of campaign, but then a lot of idiots would get offended by it, and who knows, and then we're back into this stupid merry-go-round of feelings. Here's the point I'm making. You are recession-proof if you decide to cut expenses. You decide to save. You decide to pay off your debt. You decide to live like no one else, as Dave Ramsey has said for decades. I tell you who is never worried about a recession. People that are debt-free. They're just not worried about it. Is it a pain in their you-know-what? Sure. It's yeah, kind of. They got margin, baby. You know what they really have? Freedom. 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 Free to live the life that you want to live, no matter who's in office.